So let's go to the CSS styles and let's start working on this. So for the actual slideshows, we're going to remove the margins so that they're right up against each other. And you can see, nice. Next step is that we want to stop this so that we could work on its original alignment. So its original alignment is there. That's not bad. Let's actually do it this way. Since we have one more thing that we need to do, click change, we have to set this function so that we could click on these dots and set them to what we want them to be. All right, so for that, all we're doing is we are just clearing the timeout. So currently there's a timeout function that was taking place. We want to make sure that however long was left on the timer before the function runs again, we want to clear it and say stop. All right, we are restarting. And then we're going to call the change slide function again. But this time we are going to be saying, passing in the value n, which we got from our parameter, which we'll get from our HTML. And then we're going to be setting the manual value to true. That way, when we come to this conditional here, this if statement, what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, manual is true. Now what? Well, let's check. If n is less than 0, which it wouldn't happen in this case, but this is if you wanted to add arrow keys as well. Let's just forget this. We'll go with if n is, what do I want to say here? No, this is super simple. All right, if manual is true, we're going to go ahead and say I equals n, and that's all that's going to happen. You can make this more robust and flexible by adding a few other conditionals, but for right now, for this purpose, this project, that's all you really need. In my basic slideshow tutorial, I go into how to do it in a more robust manner, but that's it. If and else. I hope this isn't getting confusing for you. There you go. Provided a little bit of spacing. And now go to the HTML and we're going to say change slide, or rather we're calling click change. And so we go here and we go to each of these dots and we add an onClick function. OnClick equals change slide. And we will repeat this for all these other dots. And the value that gets placed in them is going to be 0, 1, 2, and 3, because those are the values in the actual array. The first slide is represented by 0, 1, 2, 3. All right, so now what we should get is when I click it, we'll see a change. Right? The alignment is off, but the operation is taking place. And that's what we want. All right, so we're going to keep steamrolling. We're going to keep on keeping on. And since we see that this is functioning, I'm not going to try and spend time to focus on aligning it in these small cubes. I'm sure you could do it. I just don't think it's the best use since I want a full screen. I want it to fill up the space. But it's just math. That's it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that the slideshow container is not going to have a width of, sorry, that's going to remain the same, but the overflow is going to become hidden. And each slideshow, instead of having a width of 400 pixels, it's going to have a width of 400 view width. It's going to get a lot bigger. And what's going to happen with each slide, instead of having a width of 100 pixels, it's going to be 100 view width. And instead of translating it 100 pixels, we're going to translate it over a lot further. We will say, let's just leave that. Let's leave that alone. We'll come back. No, we're not going to come back. We're going to go 100 view width. And this one will be negative 100 view width to start. What else do we have to do? Now, when we transition the slides, we don't want it to be 100 pixels. We want it to be 100 view width and 100 view width. And now we should see a greater amount of change, or a greater degree of change. Now, the concern here is that the offset is off. We're getting 2 slides. We should just be getting 1 taking place. This is a kind of a cool effect, but we should be getting just 1. So we have to go to the CSS and let's just change something so that this stops running. It should reset. Wait for it. All right. I'm just gonna go off the top of my head. I think it's just 50 off. That's all. That should be it. If we go, I should get the full thing now. No. All right, let's save. Work with me now. Okay, all right. Not really gonna work with me. That's okay. 150. I think it's minus I. So we take the original value of the transition, 150, and then we subtract I multiplied by 100 because each slide is 100 view width in width, 100 units in width. And then with this one, what we're going to do is we're going to take the base value of negative 150 that it started at, and we're going to be adding I to it. And then 100 view width, that should work. So now what you'll get here, you should get the sliding effect. There we go. So as you can see, we're well on our way. We're pretty close, right? All right. The next step is we are going to add the final touches in terms of the animation and the sizing of this, because we want this to be a full screen and we're going to add the images in. But it's looking pretty good.